So yeah, this one might not be the best of uh, thumbnails, but you know, I've been stuffing people some gift boxes, some like grab bag style boxes, and all the things that I hold up in my thumbnails. Pretty much, I'm just mailing away to people because I have too much junk. I'm just downsizing. How do I like to downsize? I like to find uh, I like to find appropriate places for my junk. Like everything has a place and a purpose. Just because I'm throwing it away doesn't mean somebody else can't use it. And then it's their problem. I mail my trash to people. Not like eggshells and milk cartons or anything like that, but there's that one. Hello, Jennifer. Um, so, on my last live stream, I ended it very abruptly because I was dealing with an ongoing issue in the day, right? Flapjack Batter says TP at 9 o'clock. Okay, so what's 9 o'clock? Okay. If this is 12, my 9 is here. Your 9 would be here, right? So my 9 is here. Yeah, but there's TP at my 3 as well. Hi Flapjack Batter. And maybe my 8 and my 10, at least my 9:30. Oh wait, shit! There goes my 12 and my whatever that one would be. That's my aft. Cover me, Iceman. Anyways, so yeah, last live stream, I had just found out that the person that I called a health and welfare check on got out of the hospital, and so was messaging me, and so this is how that went. Okay, person went crazy, went drunk, started texting all sorts of crazy shit to me, like I'm gonna go randomly kill some people. And so I called in for a health and welfare check. The police got there and person was not there in home during like lockdowns, and self quarantines and whatnot. So the police asked me, "Are you sure he's not in a hospital right now?" And I was like, "I don't know." His last message to me was like 4 a.m. So then I hung up with the police and they said, well, if you get some more messages from him, then go ahead and call us again. And so basically, all that stuff was taken care of because somehow he ended up in the hospital anyway and then got out. And so I don't really need to follow it any further. I mean, if someone's having homicidal ideation, they don't get released from hospitals, do they? Do they? Rod Line's like that's like having gold around the room. Actually, maybe a month's worth of gold for some people with tiny booties. But yeah, I get it. That's my bling bling. What? Right? I don't really want to talk about that issue anymore. I mean, I don't like it when drunk people call me up. I'll say that much. I get enough of that shit at work. I don't need to handle it in my home life with friends and family and whatnot. It gets really annoying. It'd be like when my brother gets asked, as he's a network engineer, he gets asked, "Can you fix my computer?" He does that shit for a living, Um, I imagine lawyers get asked for their legal advice all the time by family members and stuff. Um, Poseidon wants to know, are weed stores still open in Colorado? Yes. A couple of days ago, the governor had to decide that they were essential services because he tried to close down all liquor stores and weed uh, retailers, and there was a big pushback on that, especially the liquor stores, because uh, some of my colleagues who still work in the detox, they said, your hospitals cannot handle when all these people go into withdrawal. You better keep those liquor stores open, or else you're going to be slammed twice, once by coronavirus and once by drug people. So, um, I don't know what Alan's talking about because he says depending on how far you go in your enhancements in the mind, it can be relieving. Um, are you talking about my toilet paper or the fact that cannabis is essential now and that they have essential cannabis workers? Not even just the medical side, because we have a medical and recreational cannabis. We have the recreational cannabis is deemed essential because many medical clients are getting it from recreational places because that's less distance that they have to go, depending on where they live. So they even left those places open as essential. Basically, I was going to name one of my videos this, but essential equals expendable. By the way, you don't see lawmakers stepping out of their houses for anything trifling. You don't see CEOs doing this shit. No, the CEOs all fucking quit. There's whole blogs about that. How a lot of CEOs quit when they saw that the coronavirus outbreak had started, right? And they knew that the market was going to crash and be. In order to unload their stock, they had to stop being CEO and they had to quit in order to unload their stock when the going was good and not lose a third of their uh, stock portfolio when the Dow crashed, and that's so far. But yeah, Poseidon says, "Is Warren still pretending she can't decide between Biden and Bernie? What's her game?" Dude, she did the same thing with Hillary and Bernie. I think she's just going to wait till the end and then endorse the eventual candidate. If they're not giving her anything and she doesn't feel like they represent her views, you know, apparently she thinks Bernie Sanders, after all this time of us thinking that he was progressive, Bernie Sanders must be some kind of uh, sexist, and she's the only one that knows it. And if she just doesn't want to endorse him because of that, then that's on her. Jamie said he had to quit something. I don't know what he had to quit. Uh, Alan says, "Who's going to prop Biden up if he wins?" Like Weekend at Bernie's, right? Um, all right. So, as luck would have it, even though I'm not going really far into the juicy details of what all went down yesterday, because it's over, I had a different bit of drama just fall right in my lap today, and I did not need it. I did not need it because I was trying to finish an essay for a class that I had all the time in the world to finish, but I had procrastinated and given this day, the day that it's due at midnight, I gave this day to finish reading a book and then write an essay about it. And the book was The Schopenhauer Cure by Irvin Yalom. Yalom being the master of group counseling. You guys might not know who Yalom is, but just figure I said a name that should be as famous as Freud if Freud were alive today, right? Yalom and group counseling is a thing. Like people go to his lectures on how to run group counseling. It's a specific niche, but he fucking nails it, right? So he's known as the master of this, but also he writes fiction stories so people can think about ethical issues in psychotherapy. So I already read his book, Lying on the Couch. And then today I finished reading his book, The Schopenhauer Cure, and had to write an essay on it. In the middle of that, I was disturbed in my studies and I went down one of those rabbit holes that takes a lot more time than you think it will take. Like, I was prepared to be disturbed for maybe 10, 15 minutes. I was disturbed for about 2 hours on a search, right? Okay, so Poseidon says, do bell peppers give you gas? I wouldn't know. Misty doesn't like us eating bell peppers, so I don't eat them a lot. Jamie says peppers do. Are you guys hearing farts? There's no farts. There's my chair. It's leathery. Sometimes it makes a sound. Anyways, so this rabbit hole I went down, it went like this. Out of nowhere, I got a message on Facebook, and this Facebook message. Let's see. Let me pull it up real quick. It said, um, it was using my friend's account, but it was actually his sister, right? And I hadn't heard from this guy in about a year or two, you know. And people that I've known that that I only keep in contact with them online, sometimes they disappear for 5 years or so, and then they pop back into my life, right? It doesn't seem odd to me that I would out of the blue get a direct message from this person who was a friend of mine before YouTube, mind you, but he was a failed YouTuber. Um, and given the circumstances, I am now cut and bait. We are not friends anymore after what he did, right? And he's not alone in what he did. I've had to cut bait on other people who've done these things too. But let me get to that. Anyways, this guy had a sister that he named Mouse on YouTube. So YouTubers know his sister as Mouse. And from me, they know him as Rob. Not Rith Randall, not Federalist Films, not Cardinal Virtues Rob, a different Rob, a less famous Rob. Pretty much the most views he's ever had was on my channel, Rob. Okay. This is the guy that is the bad villain in this story. Okay. But his sister got on his Facebook account and sent the following message to me. She said, "Hello, my name is," and then you guys know her as Mouse. And I'm contacting you on behalf of my brother Rob. Rob is currently incarcerated, and his lawyers are requesting character statements from friends he knew while in college who could attest to his character and personality. These letters would be used to support his defense in a court hearing. Would you be willing to write a letter of support for my brother Rob? If so, please respond to this message. At that time, I will provide you with more details, answer questions you might have, and provide his attorney contact information if you wish. Best, Mouse. Right? And yeah, Phantom Line knows where this is going because I already talked with him about that. And so I responded, Rob was a pretty good friend to me in 2006 through 2009. I moved to Louisiana and kind of lost touch with him for several years. I could write down about how I was supported. He was supportive to me and the LGBT center at University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, right? But even as I wrote that, I was like, oh, if she's not willing to give the context up front, I want to know what it is, right? Phantom Line's trying to call me, but I'm not taking calls on this live stream today. Anyways, so let's see. Basically, what Phantom Line wants is he doesn't want me to completely dock drop this person, which I'm not going to give whole names and whatnot. You guys get YouTuber names, that's it. So after a few people in this group message that came from his sister and not him, but using his account, after a few people said that they might be willing to write a letter, she said, hello again. Thanks to all who have already responded and who are considering this request. I'm currently serving as my brother's power attorney, and I'm collecting these letters on his behalf, then sending them to his lawyers. The letters have to include his full name, a brief explanation of who you are when you knew him, a discussion of your positive interactions with him and personal judgment of his character, your signature and date of letter. And she says the most efficient ways to collect these are her email. Right? So I'm like, okay, before I'm going to write a letter like this, I got to know, what is it? What did he do? Right? Phantom Lion guessed it right away. Basically, same thing as Hannibal the Victor. Got caught with kitty porn. All the different ways you could get charged about it. I looked it up on Pacer because I had all of his information, found out what it was, and I'm like, well, shit. With all the different people dying in my life before this virus, all the different stories I'm hearing about death during the virus, all the friends that I've lost in the last year, there goes another one. And I'm about numb to it right now. I'm like, well, fine, fuck it. But I started thinking about how I want to scrub this guy out of my life now. He's got one video on his channel with me in it. And Phantom saying, oh, this isn't cool, dude. It is to me. You gotta fucking stand up and fucking cut yourself off from people like that, And yeah, I'll have to clean up anything on my channel that mentions him in any sort of supportive way. And I hate taking videos down. Right? I hate taking anything down of the internet history of YouTube. But I don't care. I tried to help him make a YouTube channel. It didn't work out. He wasn't really known to you guys that much. But here's the thing. In the uh, title of this video is the disclosure word, right? You don't have someone write a letter stating that somebody has good character without disclosing to them, oh, hey, it's for the purpose of a sentencing hearing because this person did something that bad. You know, that sort of thing pisses me off. And that's not even him, it's his sister trying to do that. And I felt like it was so manipulative that it was then the drama of my day, right? I I wanted to give like 10 minutes of my time because it was my friend who messaged. And it ended up being 2 hours of my study time as I'm trying to finish this book, which at points I was reading a page and could not remember what I read on that page because it was not engaging enough. It was like numbness in my head. And so to lose 2 hours of study time to that, to figuring that out, pissed me off. But also just the manipulativeness of saying, hey, could you endorse this person without knowing what I know that you would probably not want to endorse them if you knew what they did? Could you please just give that to me up front, please? Fucking manipulative. Anyways, I won't be helping out. I I'll be staying out of it, but whatever. Anyways, the second thing that you know I like to like find little themes throughout my day sometimes, and the second thing that had to do with disclosure was actually the book, The Schopenhauer Cure, right? And so, what I'll explain to you guys is what I've learned from this book is when someone discloses something about themselves in a group therapy session, it's better to ask them why they disclosed that thing sometimes rather than finding out all the different context and history of what it is, the content of what they're saying. If you ask them, hey, why did you share that right now? Why did you disclose that right now? What I want you to disclose is why you disclosed what you disclosed. It's a very powerful tool. And I feel like uh, of all the different tools on display in the book, The Schopenhauer Cure, Yalom exhibits that one the best, going from content to process. And Phantom Lion says, no, yes, agent of goddamn doubt. Would you guys quit pissing off the Phantom Lion in my chat, please? Poseidon wants to know, is Oprah a cult leader? Um, no, Oprah is a book club leader where, like, her books don't all get written by her or the people who, well, I guess they all think similar to her, don't they? Phantom Lion still wants to talk to you all. Um, he's still calling me, but I'm trying not to take a call today. I've been flapping my own yap for uh oh 30 minutes. I think Phantom just wants to talk to me to keep me from saying anything else about that YouTuber failure that never really panned out anyway. But you guys you don't really know, but what I wanted to say was I was frustrated from somebody trying to manipulate me, right? But what he's trying to do is get me to say less about that. So Jamie's saying, drop your number, agent, and I'll call you. What's going on here, Jamie, is I've given you ways to contact me, but you don't want to put in your information in anything in a way that's traceable back to you. And I exist in all of those different ways that people can trace people and get back to people, right? So, like, that there's a reason why I stay on the above board kind of things instead of the under the table kind of places to talk to people. You know, people don't want to put in their actual identity and they want to get away with doing stuff, and I stay away from that. I actually hide behind, yeah, we have a reciprocal nature here. I get to know who people really are, and you know, and then I get Phantom fucking uh, calling me like repeatedly, trying to interrupt my stream, knowing that I like to stream at midnight every night. I've been doing that for about a month now. He's like, no, 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 don't stream. Talk to me, talk to me, talk to me. I'm like, ah. And you could be that same guy, Jamie, if you were only like a real person and not, you know, an internet icon. Jamie, you're trying to tell me that your name is Jamie Demeter, and Poseidon Kicklodon is also in my chat, and those are your real names. Maybe it's just harder for me to believe that your last name is Demeter when his first name is Poseidon. You know, you guys have a theme going in your lulz cow loving of me. What do you call it when you stalk a lulz cow? There's got to be a word for it. Um, Kip says his real name is Kip. I haven't heard of a real person being named Kip since Kip Winger, who was a very good musician. You should check it out. The band's name is Winger. Oh, Jen's like, I wouldn't know what to call it if I was following a Lil Scout. One day I might uh, throw a Discord invite that's blanket invite for Discord in the chat without the voice enabled. But see, I've tried to, like, back when we could do just a Google Hangout and share it and broadcast it. They've taken that away now. But I've given people the link to that, and then they would jump in and post like porno shots of things and like videos of really really loud screaming just to interrupt a conversation. That's happened on my YouTube channel. So like people just want those links just so that they can harass the fuck out of me, because they think it's funny. Because apparently I have a couple of viewers that are 13 years old. Phantom says, now you're dissing your viewers. Well, I'll be honest, I'm blown away. My ass is dragon says she's only 17, would never get airplay today. You know, you're probably right. Hell, Hot for Teacher by Van Halen might not get airplay today. You know, think about it. So, a bunch of my classmates in my cohort on a Facebook group, they've been saying that Yalom in his novels is a dirty, dirty old man who writes basically housewife porn into counseling sessions and like has people be like they talk about women in the most nasty ways and like men don't think that way and whatnot. And I didn't see it as that bad in his novels, but you know, it's not like you can say that just because it's 2020 that the majority of people don't have sexual fantasies anymore and don't I don't know, sexualize people and objectivize people and you know all sorts of things that woke people don't do. You know, um, uh, medical vitriol is saying, Agent, I'm kind of hurt. Why didn't I ever know your real life name? And I've been a viewer from way back. You know, my real name has been out there for a long time. The one way that people used to find out my name the most was I used to post links to I was a writer for the Examiner, and I used to post the link to it in the description because I wasn't monetized. And that was the only way for me to monetize my YouTube videos was to write an article that would accompany my video, and then people clicking on it would then be giving me some ad revenue because I would get ad revenue from Examiner articles. But in order to get that Examiner column, I had to put my real name in the byline. And so for the longest time, I have been doxxed here on YouTube, and it's only gotten worse from there, you know. But uh, yeah, Phantom Lion is doxing the hell out of me right now in the chat, you know. Phantom Lion says, I'm concerned about you. Good. We can talk after my stream. Some streams, I just want to flap my own yap, you know. I want to get it all out. But yeah. So Yalom, a lot of my classmates think that he has a dirty mind for an old man and that his books should not be held up as like the pillar of how to learn about group therapy, right? But what I don't understand is what is it about this generation now that me going back to school as an older guy, I'm with a lot of younger students who are millennials. And so, what I understand about fiction is that none of the viewpoints that are put forth by the characters are necessarily the viewpoint of the author, right? They're all fictional viewpoints, right? But it seems like what they're saying is, how can you have these characters have these, you know, deep sexual fantasies written? It's like 3 pages of just this guy's sexual fantasy. You know, is he getting off on making us read this? You know, and it's like, no, it's trying to flesh out the character. You know, it says nothing about Yalom's mind himself that he's a dirty person that just loves to explore sexual fantasies and write about it. No, he just, you know, has an imagination. He wants to tell a story and he thinks that this person had this sort of sexual fantasy. Doesn't mean that he believes that women should be objectified all the time, or that you know it doesn't mean that he believes that the views that all of the different men have on women and their place in the world are his own views, right? And Terrence Nipple says, Yalom sounds cisgendered and heteronormative. Uh, Probably, you know, but that's not the point. So, yeah, what I took away from that is that people need to learn that it's okay to tell a story, a fictional story, and have it be about a person that is maybe distasteful, right? You can write about a person in their point of view, use their perspectives in your book, and have it all come from them, and explore all this style of thought, and try to approximate what you would think that they would think, and it's a character, and it's okay so long as it's within the pages of a fiction novel. It's okay to write a character that way. And yeah, some of the characters in his books are women who have sexual fantasies or not, you know, and it takes some imagination to imagine the point of view of somebody whose lived experience you can never have. And does that mean you're a horrible person? No, it means you're a good author, that you have an imagination and you can, approximate the viewpoint of somebody that is nothing like you. Um, so, in the book, The Schopenhauer Cure, um, a big problem in it is that somebody comes to be part of a therapy group who had once had a sexual relationship with another person in the therapy group, right? And when I first read the story, I was like, that's going to start problems. You should see that right away and offer that person a different group to join, you know. But then, after it took me a while to read this book, after a while, I realized that it's not exactly a deal breaker to have people who have had a different relationship end up in the same group, even a sexual one. In fact, couples counseling happens all the time, but also there's counseling for divorced couples so that they can raise their kid together better, even though they hate each other. They get a counselor involved to help them work out how to raise their kid better. So there are forms of counseling where you bring together people that had a different relationship at one time, right? So unless one or the other makes a big deal out of it and says, I can't be in this group if that person's there, then it's okay to have them in the same group, you know, if they know up front, like, forcing it on them, I don't see that as being good. But anyways, that was in the novel, and I was initially like, hey, let me think about this one. You don't just like add someone to a group if they've had a sexual encounter with somebody else in the group. That's just, if you knew that up front, you should never do it. You should avoid it. So the other big problem I had with the book was the lead character in it is the counselor, and a lot of the group sessions were taken up by the fact that he disclosed to the group that he had cancer, right? And so then all they're thinking about is his cancer. So then the group time, instead of working on the problems of the clients, it's how they react to what he disclosed. And then basically, it's about his own feelings about his meaning in life now that he's headed towards death because he's got melanoma, right? And so I just didn't like that because I'm always thinking when I'm running a group, um, what are they going to get out of it if I tell them this story? You know, because this is their time. It's about them. It's not about me, right? This YouTube time, it's all about me. There's an arrow pointing to me right there. Just the way that like uh, proper ties, when you tie them, end up being arrows that point to your penis. This YouTube arrow right here, this play button, points right at me because this is me time, right? So yeah, just the. I always think that if you disclose anything of yourself, it should be something that helps the person, not helps you. And then I think uh, somewhere else in the book, the counselor, his name's Julius in the book, he disclosed that after the death of his wife, he had more sexual energy, and he actually chased one of his wife's relatives. And that's not something that the group really needed to know. I didn't feel like it really added anything that they could grow from. So, yeah, I have this boundary where there's a lot about my life that my clients do not need to know, and that would be one of them. You know, they don't need to know anything about any adventures I've had in the bed. So, uh, yeah, there was a lot of ethical boundaries that were broken in the book, but that's okay. It's a fictional book, right? You're supposed to explore things in fiction that you can't explore in real life, right? So, yeah, I think the other thing that like I feel like the main point of the book that isn't stated up front is the difference between feeling and choosing not to feel, right? Now, the 18 or so of you that are watching, you might have been watching my channel the last 10 years. You know that I'm, non-religious. And Schopenhauer also was one of the first open atheist philosophers. And the reason why he was able to be open about it was because he had a family fortune that set him up with a trust that with his inheritance, he didn't have to get paid by any state organization, and people who took their money from the state could not belittle religion. So there were other philosophers that maybe were atheists, but they couldn't outright say it. Schopenhauer, he was like, no, fuck it. There is no magic in the world. Anytime you come across magic, you should just put it out of your mind. It's not real. Live in the real. He was like adamantly anti-theist, right? And he wasn't burned at the stake or anything, but he was in the 19th century. You know, it was not that bad, so he could actually get away with the writings that he had, and his writings inspired Nietzsche and a bunch of other philosophers. But he went so far in his writings to be like misanthropic and really hate people. This guy hated people basically, and he wanted to be a loner all the time. And he said that the greatest joy is being alone, and to live is to suffer. He just said all this stuff that if you took it as your personal philosophy for how to live life, you're going to choose not to feel anything before something happens. And I don't know. It's kind of like taking from Star Trek: The Next Generation. If you were to take Data and Worf and like meld them into the same person, that's who Schopenhauer is. Like half the time he's talking about war, and the other half of the time he's robotic, right? And so um, Schopenhauer, used as like a personal philosophy, can make people be really stoic and not feel anything before the action happens that would give them feelings, right? And so, as a counselor, it's my job to give people a space where it's okay to explore feelings, and it's okay for people to not feel things in the moment in order to get through trying times. That's a coping mechanism that a lot of people use. But as a counselor, I'm supposed to show people that they can feel, and help them explore that feeling and help them realize that they're using this coping mechanism. And in the book, The Schopenhauer Cure, Philip Slate is the one who's considered Schopenhauer his therapist from beyond the grave. And he's completely like an atheistic Schopenhauer clone in modern day. Now, there's another character, Pam, the one that he previously had a sexual relationship with 15 years prior. Um, she went off on a religious retreat to some ashram in India, and it was based on Buddhist philosophy. And they were saying very much the same thing. In the Four Noble Truths, to live is to suffer is basically in them. The meaning of dukkha and how to get rid of it. So you can choose the evidence based uh, path towards not feeling things, or you could choose a spiritual path towards not feeling things, right? But my job now is to help you feel things when you choose that to feel them, because that coping mechanism outlives its welcome in your life, right? And so my big takeaway from the Schopenhauer Cure is how to recognize when somebody has chosen to not feel for a while, and how to sidestep that and go, you know what? Now we're in a safe place for you to heal. You know, now we're in a safe place for you to breathe. Now we're in a safe place for you to finally feel that feeling and move on from whatever it is. Jen M says no attachments. Exactly right. Um, you're getting me. Popcorn Power wants to know if you get stuck in a hard quarantine extending on months and you run out of food and face starving to death, would it be ethical to cannibalize your girlfriend? Um, I wouldn't consider it so. And here's the thing. Um, I think just like the taboo of not killing your own pet and eating it, if you give it a name, you shouldn't eat it. It's just a taboo, right? So, like, cannibalism to me seems like if you know the person, it should be a lot harder on your psyche to be able to do that to someone. Now, in the future, we could have like muscle that was based on humans that is grown in labs, just like they're trying to do lab grown other meat. They could clone, bicep muscle over and over and over again and then sell it like they do turkey legs, and people could be eating cannibalized human meat that was cloned. And I wouldn't consider that wrong because you're not calling it Bob. You're not calling it Steve, you know. But anyone who's a person, if you're going to eat them, it's just ugh. And that's a very like rooted in psychology thing. But I don't think in any culture is it okay for you to eat something that has already been given a name. So even my dogs, you know, they have names. You don't eat them. You don't eat pets. You don't eat people. Mitch thinks it's ethical to be eaten by your cats. Well, your cats don't give you a name. Uh, Rod Line says, "Can you imagine eating a package of beef if it had the cow's name on it?" Popcorn Power says, "I've now named that soda in your hand Fred. Fred soda." Well, I suppose it's now taboo for me to drink it. Poseidon says farmers name future dinners all the time. I think it's farmers' daughters that name those animals and then end up not knowing that they're eating their best friend. But most farmers I know, uh, they might give a little nickname to one of the animals that they end up eating, but not really. Um, in this time of people not having, and I haven't heard of people starving yet, but in this time where it's hard to come by food, Misty has squirrel food, right? And there is like sunflower seeds and dried corn and peanuts in it and just a lot of stuff. She's taking a whole cup of it every day and putting it out on this tree for her squirrels, right? One of those squirrels I named Cooter, right? For reasons. So Cooter is the one squirrel that will get close to me in order for me to give him some food. I don't actually want to touch the squirrels because even before coronaviruses, I was like, I'm not going to get a disease from a squirrel. I'll just like, he can come close, but I'm still going to like toss it to him. And Popcorn Power's like, one, you can eat that squirrel. Yeah, we could eat the squirrel food. I think that loose corn, we could actually pop it, the dried corn that's in it. So, yeah. Mitch says, fattening the squirrels up just in case. Uh, Misty would go out and kill something else to keep me from killing the squirrels. Those are her squirrels. Poseidon, are you starving for toilet paper that bad? Because I would do a drive by and toilet paper your front yard with one of these if I knew where you lived. If you were hurting for toilet paper, I would oblige you. I would be like, Popcorn says, "Will Misty kill your dogs first before the squirrels?" No. If you gave her a choice, she would choose the dogs, maybe over me. I'm not sure. There's a question. Um, Alan says dogs should not eat grapes. You are correct. Misty has told me that too. Don't feed grapes to the dogs. Rodline says the most egregious show of wealth right now would be the TP trees in someone's yard. Actually, on TikTok, I've seen someone light a toilet paper roll on fire, and like you can see each ring of the toilet paper roll like falling off in the flames, and it's kind of beautiful. Popcorn Power wants to know how many days of dog food we have. Uh, I don't have it down to a science, but you know how there was a run on toilet paper? There was also a run on the particular dog food that Misty will uh, allow me to buy for the dogs. And I don't know the actual brand. Hold on. I will look it up for you. But hold on. Dog food. Okay, it's Earthborn Holistic Coastal Catch Natural Dry Dog Food. That's what. Sorry. Oh no, no. Earthborn Holistic Ocean Fusion. That's the one she likes. It's a giant $55 sack of dog food, and I bought four of them, and I think we are halfway through one of those bags. Poseidon wants to know if dogs should get the virus. Rodline says no. Misty says she hasn't seen any credible evidence that dogs get the virus. Alan says that a Pomeranian died from it. From what? Grapes or or coronavirus. Hey, Poseidon, I'm not a hippie. You know, I use the soap. Broadline's like, that's so woo woo new age dog food. You're right. Here's the thing. Misty had two dogs die of like the exact same thing, right? And so she attributed it to the Chinese dog food that she had been buying. She did not know that her dog food was originally produced in China, but she figured that there was something in the dog food that gave her dogs the same sort of growths in the same area. Like both dogs died of like the same thing. And so she was like, okay, I'm going to make my own dog food from now on. Right. So for the first couple years that I lived with her, we were making dog food out of oatmeal, chicken, peas, carrots, a little bit of olive oil, and yeah, there was a lot that went into it, right? So we would take the chicken, like $10 packages of chicken, and like bake these chicken breasts, and like one breast of chicken would be used like per day. So we'd have like this bag of baked chicken breasts in the fridge that we would tear apart the chicken for their food. Like each day, they would both get, real chicken in their food. That's that's how much she loves those dogs, right? And she researched different brands of dog food that she would trust that were made in America and that she could finally trust would not have any sort of things that would get her dog sick. And she finally went with this Earthborn brand. There are a couple other brands that she has tried, but they prefer the fish flavors for some reason. So the salmon one is also okay. She doesn't want me to buy the lamb or the well, there's other weird the kangaroo meat. She does not want me to buy the kangaroo meat dog food. But the Ocean Fusion one is the one that she wants more than any of the others. Second best would be salmon. And that's her research, not mine. But I know that if I buy the wrong bag of dog food, she will make me drive back and return it. And I'm a lazy motherfucker who does not like to return things that he's bought because that is a lot of energy wasted. So I'm going to get the right bag of dog food because she is so persistent about this. Yes, Rodline, we have kangaroo flavored dog meat. Sorry, dog food. You did not know this? Hold on. Dog food, kangaroo. So, yeah, it's the Signature brand. She used to use that, Signature. Now we're buying Earthborn. But Signature was just like the same level of, you know, quality that she was looking for. And you could get it from Chewy.com and have like a dog food uh, subscription, where like every 2 weeks you'd get another box of, one bag of dog food. She stopped getting the subscription to Chewy.com to get the Signature. But yeah, Signature has kangaroo dog food right now. My ass dragon says American kangaroos. You know, that might be one reason why she doesn't want me to get the kangaroo meat, is that it's not completely sourced within America. But she is racist when it comes to dog food, and she's a social worker. So, yeah, she does not want the dog food that comes from China. I hope she watches this part of the video. Poseidon says he prefers ostrich burgers. We have a restaurant here in town that serves them, and I know a butcher that can get you ostrich meat. I'm not into exotic meats anymore. Um, no, we don't buy the kangaroo. Jen, we don't buy the kangaroo meat. And Dinah Cat Loves Me says kangaroo meat is banned in California. You know, I can believe a lot of things are banned in California. Proctor, I actually don't know what bush meat is. Wait, exotic is racist now? Well, shit. I am the world's worst social justice warrior. I suck at it. I got a Black Panther t-shirt on though. Wakanda forever, bitches. Right? So yeah, that makes me social justicey, right? Anyways, I've hit my hour. You guys are great. Got up to 18 concurrent. I didn't see the number go higher than that, but could have been more. Thank you all for showing up and listening to me rant about disclosure and how somebody tried to get me to do something by manipulating me today. And hopefully tomorrow I will have some other dramatic thing to tell you guys. Bye, Jen.